Greetings and welcome to episode 214 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for words about games. You've gone over your webcam that time. My prophecy will come true one of these days. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, technical difficulties. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander. I'm joined this week by the spinny dabbing hot tuna himself, Mr. Daffyd Moody. Everything you're doing is putting me off.
You don't know if it's me ads or
it's a good job. It's a good job. I've done like 200 odd of these now.
Yeah, that's
and I'm used to shit. Like in the old days when it was me, Keith, and Russell, like way back in the beginning days of the podcast. Like if anything, if they did or said or moved, if they twitched, if they moved it anywhere, it would put me off, and we'd have to redo the intro.
And now you're just like, I'm just going along with the flow.
Now it's in there, man. It's locked. Yeah. It's in the trap. I've
that
done this
true.
So many times. I probably do it in my sleep. I can't confirm that, but if someone were to sleep in the same room as me, they'd probably be like, "Why, yo, you introed a podcast like 5 times in your sleep last night." You also reviewed a game that doesn't exist. I'd be like, "Yeah, that sounds."
Mass Effect Andromeda 2 is an improvement on all of Andromeda, even though Andromeda was still a good game. But what they did is fix it and made it basically Mass Effect 2, where everybody's happy.
Increase the graphical fidelity, improve the facial animations. The roguelite elements were a strange addition to an RPG.
But somehow it worked. I implore the boldness.
The Star Trek crossover was a bit on the nose. I wouldn't be surprised if I did just mutter nonsense game reviews in my sleep. I've done so many at this point. But we don't review games here, really, because this is the Words About Gamescast, where every week we sit down and discuss what's going on in gaming, the games industry, and games culture. In this week's episode, we discuss the reveals from the Ubisoft Forward event, Microsoft's interest in purchasing Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment, a hodgepodge of Microsoft interviews thanks to a week of features from GamesIndustry.biz, and more. Then, as always, we go over the new game announcements, release dates, and delays that happened over the past week. We give you a content drop where we recommend some articles you should read and videos you should watch. We tell you what games are coming out over the next 7 days before we play OpenCritic Head to Head, where we guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. As always, we'll wrap the show up with a post-show discussion and chat about whatever's on our mind. Timestamps are in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can watch specific sections of this podcast. If there's only certain things that interest you, you can watch the show in any order you want. You can even watch it backwards if you so desire.
Still waiting for someone to tweet that.
Nobody watches the podcast backwards.
Well, I'm not going to because I'm on the podcast.
You get bored. I get bored when I'm editing it and I'm trying to find all the bits for all the timestamps. I'm like, God, shut up and get to the next point. Come on, stop talking.
Shut up.
Fucking hell. And then I always go, let's move on. And then we spent another 2 or 3 minutes talking about whatever we were talking about. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
We still don't move on. Now let's move on. Yeah, but this part is really important, though, Amy. No, let's move on. No, Amy.
And then we argue for a bit, and it's a whole thing. So this is the part where we would normally launch into our discussion of the first story, which is the Ubisoft Forward event. The trouble is, because of the timing of the Ubisoft Forward event being when we would normally record the podcast, it hasn't happened yet, basically. It's for anyone keeping track, it's Saturday afternoon. So what we're doing is we're recording.
The entire conference is out there because if you just go hunting for it, it'll find it.
I guarantee you it's
Ubisoft.
There'll be some really disappointing.
Go on.
There'll be some really disappointing. Just one more thing. Ubisoft always have a just one more thing that never gets leaked. Steep, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Although the Beyond Good and Evil 2 thing only didn't get leaked because they literally lied about it before the conference and said it wasn't going to be there, and then it was. And I got super mad on a live stream. I stood up. I was in the corner between the two sofas. I was yelling at the TV. I wonder if I've still got that VOD somewhere. Probably do somewhere. I've got so many old videos kicking around. So what's going to happen is we're going to record the whole podcast except the Ubisoft Forward part. You're going to notice once I've finished talking about it, there's going to be a cut. We'll probably be wearing different clothes. It'll be dark. Like an entirely different time of day. We're going to talk about the Ubisoft Forward, and then there'll be another cut, and we'll come back to us talking now about the Microsoft thing, which is next. So take it away, future Amy and Moody.
Thank you, past Amy and Moody. Hello, everybody. We are here to talk about the Ubisoft event Forward thingy-majiggy, whatever the hell it's called.
Yes. And I would like to begin talking about the Ubisoft Forward by talking about the thing they refused to talk about at the Ubisoft Forward. Because I was not impressed, Moody. We recorded this podcast before the resignations.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, we obviously didn't record this part because, we're not time travelers. Before the resignations happened, and before Ubisoft decided they weren't going to fucking talk about any of their allegations. And I might have been able to give them the benefit of the doubt, where they were like, oh, we pre-recorded this weeks in advance. We can't put a thing in here, like, talking about it at the beginning. Like, bullshit. Because these allegations didn't just happen yesterday. They happened also weeks ago. And it was a pre-recorded video. If I'm making, let's say, my Resident Evil 3 retro review, right? And I'm making it, and I'm doing it, and I decide I want to add something to it, right? After I've edited it and finished the edit, and it's all done, and it's all cozy, and it's all away, and it's finished, I can add something to it really fucking easily the day I'm publishing it. And I am one idiot in a bedroom. I'm one idiot in a bedroom. I'm not a massive multi-billion-dollar fucking company.
Yeah.
That perpetuates and covers up an atmosphere and a systemic abuse. And I was really fucking mad. So when I went into this Ubisoft Forward, and I was really fucking mad. And I'll be honest, it took me a while to focus on the Ubisoft Forward itself. And you know what happened the second I actually started focusing on the Ubisoft Forward? We watched the fucking Watch Dogs thing, where they were like, hey, we're going to paraphrase this Holocaust poem so we can market our funny little quirky game about grannies taking back Britain. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't. I almost turned it off. For my own sake. I didn't. I watched the whole thing. I've got thoughts on everything. But I was just like, I'm fucking sick of this shit. Laura Kate Dale, at Laura K. Buzz, did an amazing Twitter thread recap of the Ubisoft press conference.
Give her some love and a follow, ladies and gentlemen.
Go and read it. It's amazing. Lady. She just did not let them off the hook for like a second. They try to let themselves off the hook multiple times. When they tweeted out their stupid little fucking statement about how, it's pre-recorded, they didn't use the hashtag UbiForward like they've been using for everything else. It's almost like they don't want people to see it. Oh, no, we're just selling our games here. We just want to sell you our games. Which, by the way, I mean, what did you think of the UbiForward? I'm done ranting now. I'm going to lower the volume, and I'm going to be calm, Amy, as I talk about how thoroughly underwhelmed I was for 45 minutes.
On my part, on what you were talking about quickly, I agree with everything what you're saying. It's very disappointing that what they did. They had plenty of time to do it. I don't disagree with what you're saying there, but I also kind of thought they were going to do this personally. They shouldn't have, I agree, but I kind of thought they were going to do this. They might talk about it on their next Ubisoft Forward, whenever that is, which they announced about that. Oh, I agree with you. It's completely too late. But it's now done. It's done and dusted. I I agree it's completely disappointing and it's terrible, and they shouldn't be doing that personally. One little thing from the owner right at the beginning, quite easy. If EA can literally do something where they actually got a little bit of praise with what the guy said on his thing, even though EA's thing was a really boring conference overall, he got a little bit of praise. What he was saying was spot on, and it's quite easy. If they can do it, you can do it, Ubisoft personally. But yeah, I digress.
To just go on like obviously like apples, oranges, pears, like comparing all this stuff. But if Bungie can spend the first 8 minutes and 46 seconds of their Destiny 2 reveal, having the countdown with the silence for Black Lives Matter, and if other companies can make statements, in their stuff about other things that isn't even about them, Ubisoft could have done something, even if it was just Yves Guillemot reading the same statement over again on the thing to just acknowledge that, they're a shit company, but they're trying to do better. Because now I don't believe them. Now I don't believe that they're trying to do better. Because they're trying to sweep it under the fucking rug so they can sell Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. The Netflix series. We'll get into later.
So, they started with Watch Dogs Legion.
And the Holocaust.
First of all, the trailer I did not enjoy because I had no idea what the hell was going on. It was going way too fast. It was edited all over the place, and I was just like, "This is hurting my eyes."
The movie that they didn't say was a movie until the movie was over.
yeah, that was like that confused me and hurt my eyes and everything. The models don't look the greatest, which is kind of understand because of what the type of world they seem like they're going for here. I enjoyed what I saw. like I said, the concept of this game sounds really, really good. That you can pick anybody. Like you can pick a granny. I'm just like, hey, fantastic. That was the main thing that came out of the last year's E3 Ubisoft conference. Yeah, and it's staying strong here. They showed some really interesting things. Like I really enjoyed the assassin guy who literally was.
It's John Wick.
He was John freaking Wick, and they used the disco music from John Wick. I knew that. I recognized that bugger, ladies and gentlemen.
That's one of my favorite action movies. You think I wasn't going to clock that shit?
Yeah. Yeah, and they obviously probably tried to get Keanu Reeves, and he was just like, "No, man, I'm in Cyberpunk.
I'm already in one Cyberpunk dystopian game. I can't be in 2."
Yeah, I can't be in 2 this year. I don't need 2 years of the Keanu Renaissance or something like that.
I'll take the Keanu Renaissance forever.
Anytime,
really
that is true.
But like the movie hit all the wrong notes. Like they started doing the Holocaust poem, and I was just like, isn't this the game company that says all of their games aren't political? Like, okay, sure, yeah, right. But the gameplay concept, like I said last year, I was like, Watch Dogs Legion sounds really cool. Like, marketing aside, which is, just Ubisoft's brand at this point. Like, the actual game sounds really cool. Like, the character models look rough, but it's probably from alpha footage. And also, I don't care. Like, if all of the character models look rough, I think game's really good. Like, and the game follows through on the concept of building your own, like, resistance out of like, just people that you can meet. And you can build your own resistance around, like, how you want to play. Like, if it follows through on all of that, it's going to be a great game. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially as it's co-op, I believe. So you and me can team, like, the hell up on this. I believe it's come out and says co-op.
Well, I'll look that up later.
Yeah,
don't take that as.
Don't take that with a huge pinch of salt, ladies and gentlemen. I might be completely wrong.
I don't have the salt cellar anymore.
I
don't know if I did that before or after this segment.
I think it was before.
I hope it was before. Otherwise, that's a running joke from later in the podcast. But yeah, like Watch Dogs Legion. I mean.
Apart from the trailer, I enjoyed what I saw. Apart from the trailer, I thought what I saw was really, really canny.
It was.
And yeah,
it was. I feel like I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know, though.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was one of those things where it was like, essentially what you've done is you've just reminded me what this game is. And I know the previews have gone live, like after Ubisoft Forward. So I might check some of those out, but yeah, it was exactly how it's how a Ubisoft press conference always opens. It's like, here's the thing that you know about that, and here's all the information you may or may not remember. Yeah, I made notes on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
The first part was just a
After the
giant paragraph of a rant.
after the many rage buttons you typed in.
Yeah, it's just me just typing like random symbols and letters. And all I wrote between Watch Dogs Legion and Hyperscape, all I wrote down for everything that happened between those two games is things. Things happened. There were things. I don't remember what any of them were. I stopped paying attention and I was reading Twitter. I'm gonna be honest.
Hype skip, the pun's not intended at all, but I have no hype skip whatsoever.
Let me
It
talk
doesn't
about
look
Hyperscape.
enjoyable. It doesn't look enjoyable.
Because
It looks like for me they are too late to the battle royale scene.
right, here's the thing I thought when I was watching Hyperscape. They showed the gameplay later on, but the first initial sort of reveal, and bear in mind, even though we've seen this game be played and we've known it exists for a while, this is actually technically the reveal of the game. Which, you know, go figure, right? It's almost like recording the beginning podcast segment later, after the rest of the podcast. So they did that thing where they were like, it was the woman and she was watching the Hyperscape thing, and she was like, see that? That's the heck. And then she went on to describe the world, where it was like, oh, you know, humans fucked the planet up, made a lot of bad decisions, and we're all trapped in mega cities, and the planet's dying. And, you know, someone's come out with this, I can't remember what they call it. The Hyperscape is the actual thing.
Oasis. It's a Ready Player Bloody Run.
Right, but hear me out, because they came up with the Hyperscape, and everybody, like, we're all trapped in these mega cities, but we can all escape into the Hyperscape, and it's this infinite world full of infinite possibilities, and also there's this weird conspiracy that might be or may not be happening. And they built this amazing lore, and I'm like, I'd play the shit out of this game. And what did they fucking do? They went, ha, and it's gonna be a battle royale, lol. And at that moment, I was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done. Like, you built this amazing lore that would support this amazing game, and the best you could come up with was a battle fucking royale.
Yeah, it's. I won't lie. Apex surprised me last year. Well, this year's just because that's when I've been playing. But like I say, when I heard Apex was coming out, I was thinking, oh, is it a little late for a new battle royale? Like Fortnite's doing amazing. Blackout for Call of Duty was doing really well, and they also obviously have PUBG and everything. And I was thinking, I don't think this one will work. And I was thankfully, I'll say right now, I'm happy to say I was wrong, and I very much enjoy playing it with you and you, Amy, and Keith. But I'm going to say the same thing with this one. This one literally just feels like you're too late. Too late for it. I can understand trying to get the Twitch thing into it and all like that, but I'm just like, I don't know. It just didn't look good for me personally. I was just like,
yeah,
like I'm shocked still to this. Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say I'm taking my EGX jacket off. I was wearing it because I was sitting right next to an open window. My disappointment with Hyperscape has nothing to do with the game itself. It might be an awesome battle royale. My disappointment is the fact that you built up this amazing world and this amazing lore in the reveal trailer and then said, oh, but it's a battle royale. And I'm like, I already have a battle royale.
Yeah.
Where's the game that's going to take... It's like Overwatch to me, where it's like, you built this amazing lore in this amazing world, but then all you're giving was a multiplayer shooter. And it's like, yeah, the multiplayer shooter is really good. Or I don't know if it is now. I haven't played it for like a year. But, like, it was a game I sunk a lot of hours into, but the entire time I was like, where's the game that takes advantage of this amazing lore that you've built up? And it was the same thing, where it was like, Hyperscape, like, raised me up to be like, oh, this is really cool, even though I knew what it was. And then it went, we've made a battle royale with it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, all right, cool. It might be a great battle royale, but that's really disappointing.
Just really comes across lazy these days right now for me. And that's just disappointing. It smells of it trying to get a cheap buck.
Like, let's see. Like I said, it is probably going to do really well. People I've seen who have played it, people who I know who have played it, seem to have really enjoyed it.
Well, I didn't expect Siege would do so well, and that's got over 60 million players on the bloody thing. So, yeah, and Ubisoft, they are the second biggest brand in Europe, because they got beaten by CD Projekt. But yeah, they're a big band. They do some really great games that we all enjoy and everything. But yeah, this one just didn't come across as just like, not interested or whatnot.
Okay, do you want to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Or
You don't want to
sorry,
talk about that siege thingy, whatever crossover cock blocking Splinter Cell thing they did.
Elite Squad.
Tom Clancy,
That
yeah,
was in
Elite Squad.
Things because they announced that last year. It's a mobile game.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I actually left the room. I went to the toilet.
Okay.
When I realized they were doing their
yeah.
mobile section, I was like,
I'm out. Yeah.
I'll be back.
What, you don't have a mobile?
Shut up.
Play games?
I don't. Do you know what? I like my battery life. Like, do you know what I do when I'm on the move? Like, when I'm on buses or trains or whatever, I read. I don't play video games on my phone. And if I was going to play video games on the move, guess what? I have a Nintendo.
She has that, Liz, don't. Yeah, for me, this was just like, they're really cock blocking everybody who's screaming for a Splinter Cell game.
Luckily,
Really
I already knew it existed, so it was one of those things where I was like, I'm not in Sean Layden wearing a Crash Bandicoot t-shirt and not announcing Crash Bandicoot mode. Mm-hmm. If I didn't know Elite Squad was already a thing, I might have been in that mode, and I might have been like, you son of a bitch.
You bitch.
Bear in mind, like I said at the start of this, I'm already mad.
Yeah, you were.
I'm already really fucking angry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, I feel for everybody who's screaming for a Splinter Cell game. But yeah, I couldn't have one like
acknowledged.
Yeah, you already knew about this game. I completely forgot about this game, so I had no idea this was actually a.
I mean, I remember. I only remembered. Like, I only remembered in the moment where it appeared. Like, I only remembered when it appeared. I was like, oh yeah, this is that stupid fucking mobile game. And you know what? That's unfair because it might be really good. It's just, it annoys me because it's Sam Fisher, but it's not Splinter Cell.
Yeah. Yeah. Then the next one is, I believe it's Assassin's Creed, wasn't it? Yeah. It was Assassin's Creed. I'll say right now, I really enjoyed what I saw from Assassin's Creed. I think they do look like they've changed up the combat a little bit to really show off what Vikings can do and everything. I really enjoyed that part. I love the part where you're going to be building a settlement. I really enjoyed that type of thing because that's what I really like from Assassin's Creed 2, that you were building up your villa part in Assassin's Creed 2 and all that. I really enjoyed that. And I think if you're going to be doing this type of thing with in Valhalla, I think that's going to be really, really canny. And yeah, I really enjoyed what I saw. I thought the combat was pretty cool. Same old Assassin's Creed, there's no doubt about it, but I enjoy those games. I have a lot of fun with them. I hope this one clicks with me because, like I say, when we talked about is video games too long now, I am worried about this one, just like Cyberpunk. Is it going to be too long for me? Am I going to be like, I can't play this too long game?
I got a little tired as they were describing it, where it was like, you can do this, and I was like, cool. You can explore England, and I was like, cool. You build up a settlement, cool. You do this, you do that, you do this, and I was going, how big is this game going to be? Because I'm starting to get worried. Cyberpunk comes out 2 days later. And I'm starting to get a little bit worried by these two games being in very close proximity to one another. Yeah. But no, it does sound really cool. Like, I love the fact that they actually did research on Vikings. So it's not just like, you're a Viking, rah, smash, burn, pillage. You know what I mean? And it's like, it does show like the other side of the Viking history. And the fact that the English were actually a bunch of wankers. Or at least the people living in England at the time.
Hey, what hasn't changed?
And that hasn't changed. But no, that does interest me. I like the fact that they're embracing like a more fantasy element to the Assassin's Creed series, where it's like it doesn't have to be. And I'm going to say two words that I hate saying, but it doesn't have to be historically accurate. Like, in terms of, like, you can incorporate myths and legends into these series, because technically the flashback sequences, the main meat of an Assassin's Creed game, is a video game. It's a person lying in a doohickey playing a video game of someone's memories. So it's like, you have the license to do that, and I like that they're exploring it. But there were certain things they talked about, like the like hunting the animals. I hate hunting animals in games. I always have. Like or like going in like killing the. There was the one where they killed the wolf. He was clearly like an optional boss character for an upgrade, and I was just like, there were things I was checking off in my head while we were watching, where I was like, I'm probably not going to do that. Like,
Yeah.
that's content I'm probably not going to engage with, and if you do want to engage with it, that's great that it's there.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's perfectly fine. But the big question is, here, don't you? Did they confirm Thor's in this game? And you're gonna wield Mjolnir? I saw a man shooting lightning into his body. Is that Thor? Can
I
we
don't
beat
know.
Thor and take his hammer?
Maybe.
Did they confirm that, Amy, for me?
I don't know. That is one thing I do want to point. I do want to mention though. The weapons system sounds dope as fuck. Where
Yeah.
it's like you have two hands, you can put whatever you want in those two hands and use them as weapons and have your own playstyle. And I love the bit where like even two shields, and they just showed Evo just absolutely wrecking shit with like two shields, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch, I'm in. Like
Then
that
you're gonna
looks
throw
so
him,
fucking
and they're
good.
gonna bounce back to you, and you go.
No, that's Avengers, which comes out in September. But like, no, it was like there was some really cool looking like things where it's like you could have the, I can't remember what they're called. It's the spinny thing, the maul on the chain. I think it's not a maul though. And you have that in one hand and like a sword in the other hand and just bash, shield, stab, face. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, are you meaning like what the Witch King has in Lord of the Rings? He has a
Yes.
sword and he has a thing. Yeah,
He has the
I
thing.
don't know what it's called.
I mean-
I just called it a thing that will
Evo has
you.
a more practical version of that weapon.
Definitely more practical, that's for sure.
But I love that. That aspect of it really appealed to me. Like,
Yeah.
it's create your own class almost in terms of like
Basically,
just use whatever you want. Thanks, I will. And also it looks really. I love the looks of the landscapes. But we need to move on.
Yeah.
This is probably the only time in the podcast we have a time limit ish on how long we can
That's
talk
true.
about something, and we got to talk about two more things really. The first one being Far Cry 6, which was not a Netflix series, despite the fact that it definitely had a Netflix series intro. And if it was a 10-episode Netflix series starring those two characters, I'd watch the fucking shit out of it, and I'm sure it would be amazing. But it's going to be
It
a
was
Far Cry video.
intense.
It
It was
awesome.
intense. It was really awesome. The kid's been confirmed to be the Miguel from Coco, the star of Coco, which is really kind of because I really liked him in that. Go on.
Like and I said this to you before we started recording, and I'll say it again. The problem with this reveal is the same problem I have with Far Cry 3, 4, and 5. Maybe not 5, not so much, but definitely 3 and 4, where it's like Far Cry has amazing villains that they center their reveals and trailers around, and they are awesome. Like, the villains of 4 and 3 are really amazing, but because they're the villains...
Wind blew my door and kind of scared me.
But because they're the villains, they're not in the game very much. And that's an issue, because it's like Giancarlo Esposito is incredible in this trailer, but I know he's going to be in the game for a grand total of about an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, that is going to be the disappointing thing about this. There's no doubt about it, and it's going to probably have the basic Far Cry gameplay, like what the gameplay loop that they've had for a long, long time. I hope not. I hope they have tried to change it up, because Far Cry has become very stale. I did not enjoy Far Cry 5, and I didn't enjoy New Dawn.
No,
I barely played New Dawn. It was just like, this is boring. Don't like it. Blah blah blah. Hopefully they've listened, and you are gonna see this character more and everything. Hopefully, but it's gonna be I don't know. Respect to the trailer, like I said, the trailer was intense. It was an amazing trailer. Like what you said, this was a Netflix show or HBO show or anything, or just a flipping show. This is how you show off the main guy for the show, the main villain. This is how you do it. You'll be in it. You'll be like, where do I sign up? Where? Tell me now, and everything. And And then you start thinking about it. You go, it's a Far Cry game.
Yep,
We know what
it's
a Far Cry game is.
We're going to see this
Oh,
game
boy.
at the next Ubisoft Forward, which is the other thing we need to talk about. We're going to see it at the next Ubisoft Forward, and we're going to be like, oh, it's Far Cry again. Which has been the problem since 3. I said this in my review of Far Cry 4, and I said this in my review of Far Cry 5, and I probably said this in my review of Far Cry New Dawn, but like, wherever you've jumped onto the Far Cry train, whether it was 3, 4, or 5, or New Dawn, like, you are getting the experience I got when I played 3. I thought 3 was incredible. I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. And then I played 4, and it was the same again. And then I played 5, and it was the same again. And then I played New Dawn, and it was the same again. And it's like, I can respect if you jumped in at 5 because you'd heard great things about it, and you were like, no, what are you talking about? 5 is incredible. It is, because you've basically jumped on at the same point I did, just with a different game. And I feel like that's what Far Cry 6 is offering again. And I don't give them the benefit of the doubt because they've done it 4 times. Like, at this point. So it's like, trailer was amazing. I'm sure Giancarlo Esposito is going to be absolutely amazing in this game.
For the 10 minutes he's in?
Yeah, but it's Far Cry again. Until they show me otherwise. Like, they've shown me why Assassin's Creed Valhalla is different from even Odyssey. Like, never mind that it's an evolution of Assassin's Creed in general. They've shown me, hey, this isn't Odyssey again. It has a lot of the same mechanics, obviously, but here's some key differences. And I'm like, cool, I'm down for that, because that's a completely new experience to me. Like, it's the same experience, but with different twist, I should say. And then they dropped the bomb at the end where it was like, this isn't the only Ubisoft Forward, guys. There's going to be another one. And I feel like I got bait and switched. I didn't feel good about that. Because it was one of those things where it was like, oh, you actually do have more to say, probably about more interesting things, but you're not saying them right now.
They wanted to show what's coming out between now and February. And they'll probably start the next one with the gameplay of Far Cry 6. And then go into probably Gods of Monsters and whatever else they've got to show.
Which definitely isn't coming out this year.
Oh, definitely not.
100%. So is Rainbow Six. When they started the Rainbow Six part, I was like, oh, they're going to talk about quarantine. Nope, they are not going to talk about quarantine.
It ain't coming out this year either.
No.
Probably not.
No, they're not. Like, they're more quirky, interesting, smaller stuff will probably happen at the next Ubisoft Forward. Like, Roller Champions wasn't about, and that's a game that exists and is out, and like any other like smaller games that they might be making, like, I hope they're making more than just these few games. Like, I hope there's something along the lines of maybe a Rayman or a Splinter Cell or something.
Weren't they on the pre-show though?
I didn't watch the pre-show. The pre-show, as far as I'm aware, was just existing games. It was like Division 2 content and
Breaking Point.
Which still apparently they're still chugging along with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. My fucking god. Oh my god.
2.0. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't really watch that part.
No, I didn't watch any of it. I was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I did instead, Moody? I watched for the second time this weekend the Devolver Digital. Devolver Digital Direct 2020. That's what I did with the hour before the Ubisoft press conference. Because I was like, you know what? I need entertainment in my life, and this is amazing.
Yeah. It flowed well, but the thing that obviously holds it back is that they're showing games that we already knew about, which I can understand. They finally showed gameplay for Valhalla, what I really enjoyed seeing. Watch Dogs, the gameplay part, I enjoyed. The crazy-ass trailer that confused me and broke my brain and hurt my eyes did not help me. The mobile game, I have no interest in. Far Cry 6, dope-ass Netflix trailer. Like you say, Amy. Dope-ass Netflix trailer. That's how the kids in it say it. That's what the kids say, dope. But yeah.
What do you mean the kids? I said it like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, true, yeah. So it's now taken over by us old people now?
We're not old.
Old people are saying it.
We're millennials.
Well,
there's like all other generations ahead of us.
Oh, God.
We're not the old ones yet.
I thought we were Generation Z.
No, we're millennials.
Oh, X.
Like, which direction is it going?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Gen Z is ahead of us, right? and then
I have no idea.
And then boomers are ahead of that. And then I don't know what's after that. I think
bloopers?
it said Y, X. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
Generations, like console generations, are about to become are just really confusing, and that's going to do it. So we should probably send it back over to past Amy and past Booty to wrap the rest of this podcast up.
Yes.
So let's do that.
Sure.
No,
check them out.
Yeah.
Say hi from us.
You missed the obvious. You missed the obvious spawn. You missed the super obvious segue.
Have I?
Where you look at the camera and you go, check a look. Well, how about that Ubisoft Forward event? That was
glorious. Best thing I've seen ever.
That was good. Or bad. Or meh. Delete as applicable, I guess.
I really liked the reveal of Steep 2. I thought it was fantastic.
Do you know what my favourite part was, Moody? All the games.
Yeah.
The games were my favourite part.
Yeah.
See?
I love the non-gameplay that they didn't show.
Never be able to tell that we hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Nailed it. The games, there were games there. See?
There were games.
I proved that I've seen it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the second thing that we talked about today. Microsoft eyes Warner Brothers Interactive acquisition. This is a report from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, owner of studios such as Rocksteady and NetherRealm, has a new suitor in its possible sale, Microsoft. Last month, WBIE owner AT&T was reported to be seeking a sale of Warner's huge gaming division for around $4 billion in a bid to reduce company debts of $165 billion. Now, I'm not great at maths, but I don't think 4 from 165 is going to make too much of a dent, but hey, I don't understand business, and I don't care to. Take-Two, Electronic Arts, and Activision Blizzard all initially expressed interest, but no deal was thought imminent. Last night, a new report from The Information stated Microsoft was also now eyeing up a purchase, according to sources at the company. Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment is a huge enterprise with more than a dozen studios located in the US and UK. Among them are Rocksteady, Batman Arkham, and now Suicide Squad, NetherRealm, who make Mortal Kombat, TT Games, who make LEGO games, Monolith, who made Shadow of Mordor, Avalanche, who are making the upcoming Harry Potter game, and, in my favourite bit of Eurogamer editorialising, WB Games Montreal, who are responsible for Arkham Oranges. Gotta love Eurogamer.
Mm-hmm. I loved the juiciness of Arkham Oranges. It was so juicy. Yeah, it was a juicy game indeed.
It's a juicy game. This is unsurprising, because I think when we broke this news, or when we talked about this news, we did break the news.
Yeah.
When we talked about this news on the podcast last month, we said, like, wouldn't it be great if Microsoft bought Warner Brothers? We had a big discussion about them getting Rocksteady and NetherRealm and all of the very talented studios over at WB Interactive. And hey, it turns out that they're interested, which, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, I think, right?
It's the best one we could hope for, basically, because the other ones don't sound too very good to hear from. 2K, Electronic Arts, Activision Blizzard, etc., etc. Microsoft, they have the money to throw around, basically. They have a huge war chest that Microsoft barely touched, I bet, when they bought all those studios over the last couple of years and everything. And even if they do purchase this, it won't really make a dent in their war chest.
No, they'll make that back on like Windows 10 sales.
Yeah, basically, yeah. What this does though would make Game Pass even more juicy than ever.
Yeah. Like
the game, if just the talent alone is amazing, but if they can somehow incorporate the IP license into it, that'll be even better for them and everything. But I think this is would be the less of evil. The what's the saying? Less of two evils.
The lesser of
I think the
4 evils. I guess.
Less of 4 evils. This would be a great acquisition for them. There's no doubt about it. I personally would say don't try and get the IPs. Personally, that maybe might lower the price down because I think the 4 billion that's for me screams out. They're also wanting to license out the franchises, which we all know Warner Brothers want to do. That's why they're trying to get rid of the gaming division. They want to do what Disney basically do with Marvel and the Star Wars and everything. For me, yeah, I would try and get the price down without taking the IP personally, and say, "Yo, everybody, you are free now. You can do your own thing. If you got a new IP that you was not able to do because you were cuffed basically to do this type of franchise, you can do it. Go for it." The thing is, NetherRealm, they would keep Mortal Kombat. Apparently, I'm hearing now, so that would be a great tell for them if they were able to get that. TT Games, I think that would be an amazing purchase for them because they could literally do a Lego Halo, Lego Gears, Lego Forza in some sort of crazy batshit way, and I think that would be incredible.
Well, there was DLC for Lego Forza, I remember.
There's that as well, yeah. I think they've got so much talent. There's so much talent here that I think would be amazing for Microsoft. And if they decide to try and get the IPs for whatever amount of time, great.
Yeah, I think there'll be a complicated licensing agreement that'll come along with buying Warner Brothers Interactive. I can't see why they wouldn't, because the value that having even just DC games as a license to be able to make DC games, the value alone would be insane. Could you imagine if the next Batman Court of Owls, whatever it's going to be called, Gotham Knights, I think was the rumor. Could you imagine if that game was cool? It's multi-platform for sure. Buy it on your PS5 or your Xbox Series X for $70. It's also going in Game Pass because whatever the studio is named, because I don't think they'll keep the WB Games Montreal name.
They'd probably call it Microsoft Montreal or something.
Microsoft Montreal,
or Xbox Montreal. We all know,
yeah. So Rocksteady's coming out. They're Suicide Squad game. Cool. You can buy it on the PS5 if you want, if that's where you want to play it. It's also in Game Pass.
Yeah, they did the same thing when they bought Obsidian. Obsidian's the game what they came out last year, Outer Worlds.
Yeah, well,
went straight into Game Pass
because they were an Xbox studio. But obviously they were making the game for all platforms. This is the thing about Microsoft. I don't think they care too much about buying the studio. If they bought Warner Brothers and NetherRealm's making another Mortal Kombat game or even another Injustice game, and there's the Harry Potter stuff, there's the DC stuff. It's I don't think Microsoft would really be that bothered about keeping those particular games exclusive to the Xbox, because they just publish them on other platforms and make money off of them. But we'd be having a different conversation if Game Pass didn't exist, because they also they can have it both ways, in that they can sell the game for $60, air quotes, and make that money as the publisher of the game on any platform. But because they can still draw people to the Xbox platform by saying, yeah, but you don't have to spend $60. You can just buy Game Pass.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very interesting. If this theoretically, if this all happened and everything like that, all the games that all these studios are doing right now would be multi-platform for everything. But then the question would be, what about the next game and everything? PlayStation, I don't think, would want to have their Xbox games on here. Xbox own studios games on there, unless they have come to an agreement and everything. And that's maybe why that might be the sticking point for Warner Brothers overall to let Microsoft buy them, because I think overall they're going to want their thing on everything, where it's going to be the less hassle and everything. So take Two, EA, all multi-platform games and everything could go on everything. If there's a way, yes, it would be PlayStation saying no, we don't want their stuff on our stuff or anything like that, without having some sort of reap of costs for us in some sort of way, then that's not going to happen. That's the only way I can see this deal not happening, is partly because of PlayStation, because PlayStation don't want to play nice.
I don't see it personally. I mean, I get the point. I get the part with where it's they will want their game. If they're doing the licensed games, this obviously doesn't necessarily pertain to Mortal Kombat or to any other games that any of these studios might make in the future, like Just Cause, for example. Like, Just Cause might become an Xbox exclusive potentially in the future if this deal was to go through. But I don't see PlayStation not, like, could you imagine if Microsoft bought WB Interactive and then PlayStation said, you know what, nah, we don't want those Batman games. Those super successful, super popular Batman games. You can keep them on Xbox, and then it's like, well, hang on a minute. That changes the game again. Because there are people who absolutely adore those Batman games. One of them is sitting here.
I think ultimately it would come to how many units are on for each company. If PlayStation can run away with it, basically, like they did this generation, and everything, then they would probably be like, we're good. And everything. But if it's a more tighter race, then I think it could be a different thing. I think, honestly, like I say, it could be multiple things. Unless it's like a deal, unless Warner Brothers agree a deal with Microsoft where, okay, our licensed games have to be all multi-platform.
Which they will, 100%.
Yeah. But if you guys want them to create games for just your console, but not using any of our IP, then that's fine. But they'll have to have an agreement. But we want a game out every, say, 5 years or something, or whatever, whatever timeline. They could do that type of deal if they wanted to.
There'll be a Star Wars style, Marvel style licensing agreement with Microsoft, I'm sure. But like, we know what Microsoft does with studios. They just base them. We'll talk about it in the next segment. But like every studio, or at least a lot of the studios, I won't say every because I don't know the situations for all of them, but a lot of the studios that they've bought over the past couple of years have split their development teams and are making multiple titles. Like we've seen it with Obsidian. They're making Grounded, but they were making AOLs and Grounded. They're clearly making Grounded and something else. In Exile Entertainment, and again, we'll talk about it in a bit, they're making 2 games. Ninja Theory is making Hellblade, and they made Bleeding Edge at the same time. Like there's nothing to say that if Microsoft make this acquisition, that Rocksteady will be making their Suicide Squad game, but also maybe another part of the studio could be making something else entirely, which might be an original IP, or it might be something else that's licensed from somewhere else.
Yeah, it's gonna be very fascinating to see what happens and see what who goes where and everything like that. I'll say one thing to anybody out there, because I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, maybe they announce it at the PlayStation, not the PlayStation, the Xbox thing." I'm just gonna say the quote, what we say all the time. That's not how the Force works, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't work that way. They will not have this deal done in time. It's not a chance, especially with the laws that are around in America, at least, and in Canada. Jeez, that's a hellfire and a half that they would have to navigate through, and especially as multiple studios are in different states, that's even more of a navigation to try and get through. So this is a thing that's going to... If this does happen, if Microsoft do buy these studios, this will not be probably fully confirmed until sometime next year. And it'll be a perfect thing for them to hold off until for E3 next year. That'll be the perfect thing. They could literally say, boom! Warner Brothers Interactive Games are ours. Boom! Now Microsoft Interactive or whatever. Boom!
Like, they're under the Xbox Game Studios banner. And it's like, remember that graphic they had where they showed all the studios? And XO19 last year, and then it's just like it adds like 2 rows to it, and they just like check out all these fucking studios.
They could just do a trailer of just like, here's our interactive studios, but there's one more thing, and then you just literally raise the ones up and ring down another 2 lines.
It just moves,
and everyone just dies with heart attacks in the studios and on live stream.
He'll be out there with his t-shirt and his sports jacket, and he'll be like, here's an update on like where our Xbox Game Studios are at, blah, 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 and it does the thing, and then he comes back out, and everyone's like, that was pretty great, and then he'll be like, oh, it's important, like it's really important that we foster such a great like community of game studios. They do this, they help us, we help them, and then it's like, and then he just does the thing, he does the Phil Spencer transition into it. But like we do have something to share with you on that note. Bam! Rocksteady, NetherRealm, TT Games, Avalanche, and you just
You could see that. Yeah, it'd be like, oh my god! It'd be literally like Thor in Thor Ragnarok in the portal heading towards the Grand Masters. He's like, you're like on a roller coaster. Oh my god, so much awesomeness! And then, you know Phil's gonna be wearing a Warner Brothers shirt in the thing in 2 weeks' time.
He'll be wearing a cheeky t-shirt somewhere.
A cheeky wink at us.
Crash Bandicoot all over again. Crash Bandicoot and Sean Layden all over again.
Yeah.
6 months I was angry about that. Let's not start talking about Xbox right. We've got a really weird hodgepodge of things to talk about are Xbox related. Like, I think most of these conversations that we have won't be very long. But basically, like, GamesIndustry.biz has been doing like features all last week. And basically they are interviews with studio heads, development heads, Phil himself, like, and there's some interesting stuff that I've pulled from like a bunch of different articles and just dropped them in. So this is a bit of a hodgepodge. All of the stuff is from GamesIndustry.biz from various different writers, who have all done a fantastic job. And I've split it into little sections so we can talk between each thing. These are just interesting things that I found. So the number one, fucking Star Trek trailer. Go watch the Glorious Movie Show because you'll have no idea what we're talking about. But I was on the Glorious Movie Show and we talked about Star Trek. Microsoft has reportedly been telling developers and publishers they are not allowed to charge players who wish to upgrade from the Xbox One version of their games to Xbox Series X. That's according to sources speaking to Video Games Chronicle, which reports Xbox is encouraging companies to offer free next-gen updates either via its Smart Delivery initiative or their own scheme. A Microsoft spokesperson told the site that developers and publishers ultimately decide how they deliver their games, and we work with them to provide the best possible experience based on their needs.
Not surprising whatsoever. You can see with how Microsoft are doing that and what direction they want to go. They want to be the consumer-friendly console. They want to be the consumer-friendly customer developers and publishers and everything like that. And they don't want to screw over their customers in any way. This is a fantastic thing. Let's hope everyone agrees to it. Which, if they want their game on there, which they will, they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about 2K Games last week offering the cross-generation bundle, which I think was £85. And you bought NBA 2K21, and you got both, it working on both Xbox One and Xbox Series X, which doesn't make a whole heap of sense in the long run, because it would work either way. But it gives you the Xbox Series X enhancements, which I assume is better graphics, better frame rate, better performance. Still the same game, though. Like, I love graphics as much as the next girl, but I'm not going to spend an extra, what would it be? 64, like 20 quid, just so, like, the player's sweat was more sweaty, yeah. Like, I ain't that into it. Like, if there was that option for, say, like, The Last of Us, like, where it was like, ooh, if you buy this edition for an extra £20, you know, you can... Like, everything, all the graphics will be better. I was like, that game is gorgeous enough already. Like, and I'll be honest, the graphics are amazing. And I love them. I'm not here for those, though. Like, I have never played a game for its graphics.
Graphics is, like, at the bottom of the barrel for a lot of people.
Yeah, like, even games that have amazing art styles. Like West of Dead, the game I was streaming a couple of weeks ago, I made a video for. The art style in that game is amazing, but if I was just there purely for the art style, I could just look at screenshots. Or I could just find the artist on Twitter and have a look at their concept art. Like, a game, like, has, like, yeah, sure, there's, like, facial animations and whatnot that sell, like, emotions and stuff in conversations in certain games like The Last of Us Part 2, but, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm really not that fussed about graphics. So it is a bit... That's where I stand. That's where I come down on that. And smart deliveries are great. system. They're trying to tear the walls down between generations, as opposed to other console manufacturers who seem to be trying to build the walls higher.
Mm-hmm. Number 2.
This is a long quote from Phil Spencer. Quote, frankly, held back is a meme that gets created by people who are too caught up in device competition. I just look at Windows. It's almost certain if the developer is building a Windows version of their game, then the most powerful and highest fidelity version is the PC version. You can even see that with some of our first-party console games going to PC, even from our competitors, that the richest version is the PC version. Yet the PC ecosystem is the most diverse when it comes to hardware. When you think about the CPUs and GPUs from years ago that are there. Yes, every developer is going to find a line and say that this is the hardware that I am going to support. But the diversity of hardware choice in PC has not held back the highest fidelity PC games on the market. The highest fidelity PC games rival anything that anybody has ever seen in video games. So this idea that developers don't know how to build games, or game engines, or ecosystems that work across a set of hardware, there's a proof point in PC that shows that's not the case. That said, we're shipping Xbox Series X this year. I'm playing it every day at home, and it is different to playing on an Xbox One X. We should applaud the work that is going on with the SSD and the work that is going on with audio to pick up some of the areas that Jim Ryan and Mark Cerny and the stuff that PlayStation is focused on. We should applaud load times and fidelity of scenes and frame rate and input latency, and all of these things that we've focused on with the next generation. But that should not exclude people from being able to play. That's our point. How do we create an ecosystem where if you want to play an Xbox game, we're going to give you a way to go play it? End quote. I said something very similar in the Game Length video that we talked about. And also, was it last week's podcast we talked about a bit about this? When we were talking about pricing. And I was talking about Xbox and saying, look, it's great that PS5 looks so great, and it's great that it's got so many great games, but like Xbox is almost in a different race at this point, where it's like they want to sell you the $400, $500, $600 console and say this is the best way. Like this is the best way you can experience Xbox games on an Xbox. But if you can't, you can buy this, which is cheaper, like the One X or the Lockhart, which is cheaper. If you can't afford that, but you have an Xbox, you can just buy the game. If you don't even want to buy the game, you can get it in Game Pass. Like, and when xCloud comes out and adds to that, it's like you probably don't even need a freaking box. Like, do you have a device? Like, do you have a phone? Sorry, I just remember in the BlizzCon meme. Do people not even have phones? Like, do you have a phone? Do you have a laptop? Do you have a tablet? Do you have like they're trying to tear down the barrier of entry so that more people can just experience the games. So when people like argue about PS, and Phil even mentions this at the top, where it's like it's a meme, like it's created by people who are too caught up in device competition. It's like there are going to be plenty of people out there who want to play Spider-Man or Deathloop or Horizon Forbidden West or Bugsnax who can't buy a PS5 because they can't afford it, which means they're locked out of playing those games. Whereas with what Xbox is doing, it's saying, look, here's the best experience. The best possible Xbox experience. And yes, it's expensive, but we also have all of these other options. And it's the difference between saying, PlayStation saying, cool, you need to spend $500 estimated to have this experience, and Xbox saying you can spend $500 to have this experience. Or you can spend the price of 1 month of Game Pass, which I'm assuming there'll be a bundle with xCloud. Or you can buy the game. Or you can buy a cheaper version of the Xbox, or you can buy Lockhart, or you can buy Xbox Series X. And I think that's a really good strategy. And yes, it means PS5 is probably going to outsell the Series X. Like, that's just fact. But that's not what it's about anymore, at least not for Microsoft. And I love it.
Yeah. Microsoft are going in a completely different direction. Like even Jim Ryan said on the PlayStation event, we are here to build new generations. We are now leaving the old generation behind and going straight into this new generation. And that's what they want to do. That's PlayStation's direction. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's their choice. Don't really care, really. Microsoft, though, they're going in their own direction. And it's a fabulous direction as well. It's very consumer friendly, and that's what you want to see from them. Everyone complains that, like 2K, Activision, EA, they never come across as consumer friendly at all. And many other non-gaming studios, non-gaming companies out there don't come across very friendly to customers. This is completely opposite when it comes to Microsoft, and especially Xbox part. They want to be consumer friendly. They want to help you have the best experience you can have.
Yeah.
To what you can afford. And that is fabulous. That is what everyone wants to say. That's what everyone wants to see. Like you can't pay an upfront price of $500 for the new Xbox. All right, you've got two other choices. You've got the Lockhart, which we are surmising that rumors is going to be half price from the X, or you can go to the X. Or if you want to take the risk, you can do the payment plan that we have in place, which I believe you're on, Amy. Yes,
I am on it. Yes.
Yeah. So you could they are setting themselves up so perfectly in a different type of race, and that's what more do people want?
Yeah, it's like
that's the thing about it.
Like, I'm critical of the way PlayStation are going, just in the face of Microsoft, but that's their decision. Like, if they want to keep going the way consoles have always gone, that's fine. And like I said, like the PS5 reveal sold me on the fact that I want a PS5.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, to me, whereas it's like, I want a PS5 and I need a PS5 because I want to play these games that they've shown. Whereas it's like, with an Xbox Series X, I would like an Xbox Series X. I don't necessarily need one. Like, and that's kind of liberating. Like, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to play Halo Infinite when it comes out. I have the machine right here. Like, that can play Halo Infinite. I don't have to worry about it. I do have to worry about how I'm going to play Spider-Man. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have to worry about affording the console, getting the console, stock shortages, potentially, and it's just, oh man, I hate going through that. I remember when I bought my launch day PS4 and sitting here, it was actually over there because that was when my desk was in the other corner of the room, and literally spending most of a day refreshing the DPD tracker, watching the little driver go beep, 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 all over the place. And I was like, is it here yet? Oh, it's still like 2 hours away. Where's my PS4? And they had no games for it because it was like a last minute like pre-order thing because I just got like a government tax refund check. I got a Vita with it. That was also a good decision. But I had the PS Plus games, so I played Resogun for like 3 days.
Great game.
It was a great game, yeah. But I was happy when I was able to get like Black Flag and Killzone. I mean, I wasn't over the moon because I wasn't massively a fan of Killzone, but it did the job.
Oh, Amy, you're allowed to be wrong. It's fine.
Shut up.
Everything what you said was spot on and everything. Number 3.
In Exile boss, Brian Fargo gives an example of Microsoft's approach to new teams. Quote, I knew what I wanted to do next. It was a cat. Wow, my tummy just rumbled so loud. I don't know if you heard that. Like, I felt that.
I didn't hear anything.
That's good. I heard it over my headphones. Quote, I knew what I wanted to do next. It was a category we loved. It was a unique opportunity in the marketplace, and I had all the ancillary information as to why I felt it was a great idea. I prepared the whole thing. I sat with Matt, that's Matt Booty, and said, here is what we want to do. And he said, if that's what you want to do, then great. It was over in like 60 seconds. That was wild for me, because we're used to the 6-month process of back and forth with a million questions, with things like, how many pieces of art will there be? I had to go back to Matt a second time and go, I just wanted to be sure that you understood that this is what we're doing. And he said, I love the idea so much that I don't want to see anything, so that you guys over-index on what I say and think you have to change it in some capacity. That's a true story. End quote. Booty explains, quote, it's kind of a phase thing. Take Compulsion. They're working on their next game and have spent the last year on early ideation. I try to keep as far away from that as possible. And then, as it starts to get exposure within the organisation, feedback will come in and things will start to steer. But it's important to leave them alone for as long as possible until they've got something that can walk on its own. And then there's no shortage of feedback within Xbox, end quote. But he explains that what Microsoft is focused on is helping these studios take their next step, whatever that may be. Some might want to become bigger outfits, whereas others have more specific goals. Quote, with Psychonauts 2, we could see the end of our budget coming up, and so we had to cut a lot of stuff, Tim Schafer explains. We had to cut our boss fights. Now we were able to put those back in, and we're like, we think people would have noticed if we didn't have those boss fights. Being able to complete the game in the way being able to complete the game in the way that it was meant to be was very important. I'm looking forward to doing things for the right reasons. When you only have a certain amount of time and money, you might jump into a part of the game that you're not ready to jump into, or start working on art before you're ready with design. But now I look forward to this era where we are doing everything for what is right for the game. End quote. So that was about Xbox Studios and how they're managed, specifically the new ones.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. They want the most, going back to what Phil Spencer said on the first part, like about how diverse certain things are, and I think this is what it is when it comes to the studios. He's not handcuffing them. He said they go, we have this idea, go flush it out, then bring it to us, and then we'll have a good conversation and have a full-on look. But take your time, don't rush yourselves and everything like that. And that's a fantastic thing. The freedom they have right now is incredible. And again, goes back to, if Microsoft bought Warner Brothers, that is fantastic to think that you don't need the IP, guys. We know how good you are. We know this. What ideas do you have that are not Batman or whatever? But just tell us, you got an idea? This is the idea? Go. Flush that thing out, come back to us, and then we'll have a full-on conversation, deep dive into it. But take your time and don't rush yourself. And that is fabulous. Yeah. That's absolutely fabulous thinking, and I think that this just shows that Microsoft right now, they're going in a way that's making their cut studios a great place possibly to work at. Freedom of just taking your time, not rushing it, getting it right. That's what we want to see, I think. And go for it. Go on. Sorry.
I think a lot of people were worried that Tim Schafer was going to up and leave pretty quickly after Microsoft bought them, but it sounds like he's in his dream scenario, where it's like, cool, like, you can make the games you want to make. Here's money, because at the end of the day, like I was worried when I saw all of these studios being bought by Microsoft, because I love some of these studios, and Microsoft has had a bad habit in the past of wrecking studios. It's taken Rare a long time to get back to where they are now. When they were making Kinect games and doing what Microsoft directed them to do, or at least that's what it felt like they were doing. And now we're in this sort of this awesome world where Microsoft have bought these studios for a reason. Like, they've bought In Exile, Compulsion, Ninja Theory, Double Fine, everyone. They've bought them for a specific reason of, you make awesome games. We want you to make awesome games for us. And I love that. And I love that philosophy. It's like, it's not hands off, obviously, because studios need guidance as well, in certain aspects. But it's so just refreshing to see. I've also deleted number 4 because it was basically the same point as previous and the next one. I realised as I was reading it. So we've got one more, which is about Game Pass. Are you
number
Thank you.
5, 4, which one ever numbered it is now.
Quote, we acquired quite a few new studios in a short amount of time and want to make sure that those studios are onboarded in the right way, Phil Spencer concludes. As Matt and I were talking about it, we just wanted to make sure that we treated the incoming studios as full parts of the organisation, that they felt supported. The Game Pass portfolio and subscriber base continues to grow. We're launching a new console. Last year was our biggest year ever on PC in terms of revenue as Xbox Game Studios. A lot of the business is doing really well, so we're always in the market for new opportunities with studios. The first priority was making sure the studios had the things they needed to build the best versions of their games. That means extending some of the timelines and giving them more budgets. We have really strong support from Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, and Amy Hood, the CFO. And there's been no signal at all that we should be slowing down, but just go at a pace that is maintainable for us as a leadership team. We're always out there talking to people, but it has to be the right opportunity, end quote. Like Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment suddenly being available.
Yeah, it's exciting times. Like, what I think is like what is so great about this, again, what I said off on the last part was how diverse their games are going to be. Their games are going to lineup's going to be completely interesting in the next few years.
It's going to be a bit of everything. I feel like.
Yeah, and that's what I think is going to be so energetic and fascinating to see because, like, game of the year so far for me, Last of Us Part 2, no doubt about it. Plays the same way basically as the Uncharted games.
Yeah, I was about to make that point actually, where it's like, for as much as I love PlayStation's top tier exclusives this year, God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us Part 2, they're all kind of the same thing.
Yeah, third-person game with fantastic stories and characters, which just do amazing things, no doubt about it. But they're all very samey in the part of how they play.
Yeah,
in certain aspects. But these ones, they are going to be very pushy on the thing of how diverse their games are. You're gonna have Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory, which is going to be, for all intents but hopefully, going to be an amazing game. But it's going to be a psychological thriller type of thing where you don't know what the hell's going on in your character's mind while fighting these things. And then you're going to have Psychonauts 2, where it's a colorful, playful, buggy little thing with boss fights coming. And then you've got Forza, which is going to be a big ass racing sim, which does very well for them. And then you've got the first person shooter with Halo, going back to the third person shooters with Gears, even though they really need to fix that gameplay for Gears. It sucks. Sorry. I cannot wait to see what they have within 5 years. To see, like, it's going to be very exciting to see what they show in 2 weeks' time. Obviously, a lot of people think we're probably going to see Fable 2 with the new Fable and everything. If that's to a level what we're all hoping it's going to be and everything, if it's a reboot or if it's whatever, yeah, I think it's going to be. It's exciting to see
Fable
what we
Chronicles.
could be getting. Yeah, the Fable Chronicles.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this. Well, we didn't. We talked about someone else talking about this. The Outer Wilds dev. Sorry. Mentioned it because their game went in a Game Pass last year, and they were talking about how it encourages creativity because, like, all of those weird, quirky games that might not necessarily sell well in a traditional environment can go into Game Pass, and people will try it because people have Game Pass and need to play games, like, out of it, right? Like, if you're a normal consumer of games, and again, I'm not a normal consumer of games, like, you could just go through that library and see something and go, oh, that looks really interesting, and instead of being like, ooh, do I have 25, 30 quid to spend on a game I might not like, it's like, cool, I'll just click download. And that's the difference. And that's how like a lot of smaller games, and there's other ways smaller games can survive, obviously, but that's like one way like smaller, weirder, independent games can survive, like, really easily, because Game Pass just lets people download stuff. It's great.
Exactly.
And for some reason, Game Pass improves game sales. We've seen time and time again developers come out and say, look, we were in Game Pass and it's been amazing for our sales, and I go, that's interesting. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think what ultimately is that Microsoft are paying for it to be in Game Pass. They're probably covering the costs to at least break even or to be close to breaking even. And then when the rest of the sales from other places, it's just all gravy for them. And that's fantastic. And that just makes the industry even more vibrant, makes the industry even more greater to try and get into.
More studios. More studios means more voices. More voices hopefully means more diversity. More diversity means more diverse gameplay experiences.
Exactly.
Which means more diverse gameplay experiences for people playing games. Which means everybody, like, has representation on multiple levels, no matter what kind of games you like. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the post-show discussion. Because I actually have something I want to talk about in that post-show discussion. About...
Do you want me to write it down to remember?
No, it's fine. I'll remember. cool. I'm looking at the time and thinking, yeah, we're about on track. And then it's like, yeah, but we've also got to drop a half-hour segment in the podcast. Might have to get a bit liberal with what stories we continue on with, but I want to go through this one first. Twitch
I think
polls,
the next one.
it is. I saw this and I was just as I was about to play D&D with Keith and my friends, and I was literally, just as I'd accepted the call before I'd like turned my microphone on, I was literally watching like with like amazement, like my mouth was up and watching this video, just being like, what the fuck did you do? Twitch polls Black Lives Matter video after criticism from black creators. This is from Cass Marshall over at Polygon, who writes, on Thursday, streaming platform Twitch posted a video to its Twitter page with the following caption, quote, working together to make an impact for Black lives, end quote. The video quickly drew criticism from black fans and creators on Twitter, who noted that the number of people featured in the video was overwhelmingly white, with only a small fraction of screen time and spoken lines being afforded to black creators. The video featured popular streamers such as Dr. Lupo, Rubber Ninja, and Jacksepticeye voicing support for Black Lives Matter and raising funds for charitable causes. The video ended with a message to support black voices, black creators, black communities, and black Twitch. After an outcry, the video was pulled and is no longer live on Twitch's Twitter feed. The video, which lasted for just under a minute, had one line spoken by a black streamer. Black streamers comprised 11 seconds of the video's runtime. Black creators, fans, and viewers spoke out on social media as a result, leading to the video being removed. And then there was tons of tweets from people like Khalif Adams and a bunch of other people, which I just cut out because I didn't want to go through people's tweets. Reached for comment, a Twitch representative referred Polygon to its statement posted on Twitter. Quote, we hear you. Our goal is to demonstrate the importance of allyship, a message we didn't make clear, end quote. This is the second time in a week that Twitch has made a mistake regarding representation. On Sunday, the platform put out a video on Twitter to celebrate LGBT plus content creators that included the line, quote, the G in LGBTQIA plus also stands for gamer, end quote. The video was removed and edited after drawing a harsh response online. Twitch, y'all need to get a fucking PR department. Because this is 101 stuff. Like, if you're going to put out a video that supports black voices, black creators, black communities, and black Twitch, you should probably put some black people in it. And also, if you're gonna do representation for the LGBT plus community, maybe don't change one of the fucking letters and what it means. You fucking idiots. Like, obviously this was a cascading effect. I saw the one thing and I was like, fuck, we're going to have to, like, the LGBTs plus, and I was like, fuck, we're going to have to talk about this on the podcast. And then obviously I saw the Black Lives Matter video and I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Twitch? What the hell is this shit? You've done it twice in a week. And, like, it's such a basic PR blunder that even I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
And if I can figure it out, a multi-billion pound company should be able to fucking figure it out too.
Oh yeah, multi-billion account because they are owned by Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget this. Also, what I didn't know much about the story until I saw this, and I haven't seen either of the videos, so I just want to clarify that right now.
Gone. Yeah, the Twitch. I know the Black Lives Matter one disappeared pretty quickly.
Yeah, but just going off what you've read and everything like that, it's just like, okay, I see the good intentions. There's no doubt about it. But like what you just said, this was stupid. You research this thing, you make sure you have this right, and everything. And if you're going to try and do a video to support Black Lives Matter, have more black people in it than white people. Heck, don't even have a white person in it. Yes, these people who have done charity streams who are white males, who for them to support Black Lives Matter, that is fantastic. There's no doubt about it. I don't say anything bad about those people whatsoever. But the video's not about them at all, and you should never do that type of thing. It's about to help diversify your channel, to help make your things better for and more friendly for people of color to come onto your streaming service. Not streaming, your gaming streaming service, and you have not done that. You've somehow fluffed up a good intention, and that baffles me. And you didn't just do it once; you did it twice in 1 week. Well done, Twitch. Well done. You're lucky,
so
and I do mean you are incredibly lucky that you have the backing or the money power behind you, thanks to Amazon. You really do, and I think that's you're being very lazy on your research because you know you're the biggest platform out there when it comes to streaming, but you also know you have the backing of Amazon, and you look like you are getting lazy, incredibly lazy. Okay, you've got rid of Dr. Disrespect. I don't care what the hell he did. He should have been gone ages ago, Twitch. You are a lazy, lazy company. And it hurts to think that some of my friends on Twitch are doing really well now, which I'm happy for. But it's like the channels and everything, you don't help them. You just concentrate about the people who bring you money, which is disgusting. You are being incredibly lazy, Twitch. Incredibly lazy.
Yeah, it's just... It even goes to their statement where it's like, our goal was to demonstrate the importance of allyship. If you wanted to demonstrate the importance of allyship, this should have been a 1 minute long video of black creators on your platform. There are plenty of them. They also raised a ton of money for Black Lives Matter. Where were they? Like, that's how you be an ally.
Yeah.
You incompetent buffoons.
Don't try and change a letter meaning. Like,
the G also stands for game. No. Have you seen the gaming community right now with regards to LGBT? It's a fucking trash fire. Don't say that.
Yes. Don't give them ammunition. You fucking idiots. I won't lie, Twitch, I'm only on your channel, and I don't stream. I only go on it just to support you, Amy. To go and support our friend MC Fixer and other people who I follow and everything like that. If I'm able to watch them, depending on the time zone and everything. But if I didn't know you and you guys weren't streaming, I wouldn't be on you, Twitch, whatsoever. I wouldn't even be watching anything from you. Because, I love Kind of Funny and everything like that. I don't watch any of that stuff on Twitch. I will literally watch it until it comes to YouTube, or I listen to the audio version. I don't... Twitch, you are lazy as hell. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to just move on to announcements? Or do you think one of these other things is important enough to talk about? Do you want to talk about either of these things?
One of them I have no real interest in.
The last one's kind
of
funny.
The Nintendo one, that's kind of funny. Yeah, if you want to do a quick one on that one.
Yeah, we can do a quick one on this one. Nintendo Switch fans, just for the headline alone, was fantastic. Like, it caught my attention when I was scrolling through my websites last night to do this document. I was like, okay, that's an eye-catching headline. Nintendo Switch fans react in alarm at an eShop masturbation game. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer. He writes, Nintendo fans are stunned at the upcoming eShop release of Don't Get Caught, a game centered around masturbation in public. Don't Get Caught's aim appears to be to masturbate to Polaroids of real people, some photographed from underneath the walls of a toilet cubicle, without being discovered. The game's trailer is live on the eShop now. It is listed for release here in the UK next week on Monday the 13th of July, price £7.19. Don't Get Caught's eShop description reads, quote, Don't Get Caught is a silly and scary first-person stealth game with a twist. You hitchhike a ride and then travel with a driver and a creepy doll. During the ride, you have this crazy sensation to do something inappropriate. But remember, don't get caught, end quote. The game has been approved by PEGI with a 16+ age rating, and its eShop description includes a warning message, note, game includes scenes of sexual activities which are inappropriate for younger audiences. However, a quick search online suggests it is an adapted and vaguely censored version of an explicit PC game of the same name. The PC version of Don't Get Caught's description reads, quote, Don't Get Caught is a funny little jumpscare horror game where you attempt to reach climax while pleasuring yourself over pictures of Let's Players and other famous people without getting caught by your terrifying mother, end quote. There was an update of this story pretty quickly, from what I could tell, which reads, Don't Get Caught publisher Ultimate Games has told Nintendo Life that the game will no longer be released on the Nintendo eShop. Its listing on Nintendo's digital storefront, visible for several days until it caught the eye of Nintendo fans, was described by Ultimate Games as, quote, an accident, end quote. An accident.
Nintendo are the ones who approve what goes on the eShop. How can this be an accident? I do not believe that.
I don't know how publishing works on Nintendo, I'm not going to lie. Self-publishing works on Nintendo.
That's weird, but it's not do anything but laugh. That's all I can say.
Like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I wonder how many of these Nintendo fans who noticed this and were what did the headline say? Alarmed? Were alarmed at this? I wonder how many of them know that this is just a normal day on Steam. And like, this is a game. Yeah. This is just one of the disgusting games that's on Steam, where it's like, yeah, this is a Tuesday, like for what's out on Steam, and they're just trying to port it over to Switch, and it's like, you know what? You could do a funny game based around this concept, sure, but maybe not in so much graphical detail, and maybe not using pictures of real people. That's really fucking creepy. But for it to just turn up on Nintendo's eShop, and it just that.
The most arguably kid-friendly platform.
Yeah, like, wow. Okay, Nintendo.
What about the people who possibly bought this? Are they going to get refunds?
I'd imagine they're going to get
very
refunds.
shoddy when it comes to refunds.
I'd imagine they're going to get refunds. Yeah. Because $7.19 as well is a pretty expensive. It's a big price for like a game you normally see hit Steam for like 79 pence.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the other really not great games.
Bonkers.
I'd be interested to know the last part of the story of how did this happen? Like, it was an accident, but I mean, it had an eShop description and a trailer on the eShop, which means someone put an eShop page together. And whether it was published or not, it's got a PEGI rating, apparently. So, like, it got rated by a ratings board. Like, there's more to this than, oops, we accidentally created an eShop page.
Oops, they did it again.
And I want to know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to announcements. They've separated this into categories now, so we can kind of to better facilitate discussion. So we've got games coming out, we've got games revealed, and we've got games delayed. So the reveals this last week: Shadow Warrior 3 is coming out in 2021. Steel Rising is Spider's next game, and Bakugan is coming to Nintendo Switch on November 3rd. Those were the reveals. Bakugan is an interesting one, really, because Nintendo hyped this with their Nintendo Treehouse Live event. Their tweet was, it's going to be a Treehouse Live event on whatever day it was, Thursday, I think. And it's going to be gameplay from Paper Mario, which is coming out next week. Or this week, I guess. For when the podcast goes live. And it's going to be WayForward's next game, which is what was it? The wording they used initially was, it's going to be a game from a franchise that's new to them. And everybody lost their shit because Nintendo didn't qualify that statement in any way. So they assumed it was going to be a Nintendo franchise that was new to them. So everyone was like, shit, they're making... I think the two prevailing theories, because WayForward makes Shantae, which are 2D platformers, were a new Wario Land or a new 2D Metroid. And those are both reasonable assumptions to make with the information that was given. Nintendo quickly put out a statement saying, no, it's a third party, but didn't qualify that any further. Moody, we need to sit down with Nintendo and have a discussion about expectation management after this and the Pokemon stream from a couple of weeks ago. Like, they need to learn how to set expectations correctly. Because I'm sure Bakugan is really cool and kids are going to love it, but Jesus Christ. Like, you let people run wild with speculation about this.
It all depends on, like, they're aiming it for everybody, but like, say, this, I didn't know really much about this. I didn't even realize it was a Nintendo Live thingy. I saw something that people like tweeting, Linden, just like Nintendo laughing emojis and everything. This may have been like shocking and like going, oh my god, bad from a lot of people, but I bet in Japan, all the Asian markets, they were like, hell yes.
No, it's one of those things where it was, not again, Nintendo. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think anyone was like, I don't think anyone reasonable was mad. Like, I don't think anyone was like raging about it. I think a lot of people, certainly a lot of people I saw on my Twitter feed just kind of just went, not again. Like, this has happened again. Like, because
Yep.
I remember the Pokemon stream where it was like, they did the one Pokemon stream, and they were like, oh, but Don, we've got more next week. And everyone was like, oh, shit. Like, because again, you set no expectations for this, so people run wild with expectation. It gets built up, and then you reveal a Pokemon MOBA. And it's like, well, fuck. And everyone just goes, that, what? Why? I don't want that. Like, what the hell? Like, and it's just, it becomes this thing. It's the same thing that Microsoft did with their gameplay third-party thing, where it was like, they built it up too high. It didn't reach expectations. And everybody just kind of sighed and face-palmed and, yeah, moved on.
Like, I didn't even know what was happening, ladies and gentlemen, so, like, this makes me laugh.
Yeah, like, I didn't watch it. I had a nap. I was like, I could see it coming. Where it was like, there's no way that this is going to meet the expectations that I would set for it. So I'm just going to skip it. And I did, and that was a good decision. Apparently there's going to be a Nintendo Direct on the 20th of July. Take that with salt. I have a salt cellar for some reason. Take that with all of the salt in his salt cellar. But that's the latest rumor. We got some release dates announced. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning releases on September 8th on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. They also announced an expansion of the game was coming in 2021. WWE 2K20 Battlegrounds releases on September 18th on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia. My stomach just did it again. The Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope releases on October 30th on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And World of Warcraft Shadowlands has been confirmed by Activision Blizzard to be releasing in fall 2020.
WW2K20, the Battlegrounds looks terrible. Doesn't look good.
Wasn't WWE the last WWE game hilariously, horrendously, horrifically broken?
Oh yeah, it
was that the one with all the GIFs?
Buggy as hell, yeah. I'm intrigued by the expansion from Kingdoms of Amalur. I love that game. The mechanics for that and combat mechanics are absolutely stupendous on that.
Yeah.
And to know that they're going in and they're saying, "Yo, we not only have we remastered this game and remade it, there's an expansion and we're bringing it. And I love that. I'm like, hell yes, bring it, give me it now."
Like,
and that's exciting.
I think the thing people forget about Kingdoms of Amalur, the original release, is that it came out at a time when RPGs didn't have great combat mechanics as standard, and Kingdoms of Amalur kind of did have really in-depth combat mechanics. Whereas, like, in the past, like, the combat mechanics of an RPG were kind of an afterthought.
Yeah. It also came, like, a few months after Skyrim.
Yeah. And, well, no, the main thing that fucked them was their studio almost immediately gone bust.
Oh, there's that as well, but I think Skyrim coming out, I think, was one of the things that could have hurt it as well, because I think everyone was still playing that. Like, I didn't buy Kingdoms of Amalur when it came out. I had no idea about it. I was still playing Skyrim. So,
I mean, let's be real, everybody's still playing Skyrim.
That is true. Even on next generations, apparently, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
that's funny. But yeah.
I'm also looking for a little hope, because I played Man of Medan last year on a stream with, and I don't think we'll be able to do this year with Russell and Keith. It's got this cool cinema mode, where you all select different characters, and when it's that character's like scene, you pass the controller backwards and forwards. So it was a really fun multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
You can do it online, but you can only do it with 2 people. But it was really fun, and the game was good, and I'm looking for a little hope. Like, there were some issues with Man of Medan that I'm hoping they've fixed in Little Hope.
So, is this a continuation?
It's an anthology series, so it's like a Final Fantasy sequel, where it's like, it's the same game, it'll be like the same gameplay style, and it's part of the same series, but it's a different story with different characters.
I think I said to myself a while ago that I'm going to wait until they're all out and then just buy them all. Probably.
I don't know if I don't know if this is a thing that's going to end anytime soon.
Okay, so
there is going to be like an overarching storyline, because there's a character, and like if you actually like pay attention to what's happening in Man of Medan, there there are like things in the back, like characters in the background, like watching certain things, and it's like it's an intriguing thing, but it's definitely worth playing if you've got someone to play it with, for sure. Like, it's worth playing either way, but if you play it with someone, it's actually really fun.
Cool.
We had a great time. We really did. We did it for the charity stream last year. We spent like 5 hours, I think, at the start of the stream playing Man of Medan. I got screwed over though because one of my characters died. Like, was the tutorial character, so like died in the first scene, and then like I had to wait long stretches to get it going.
Cool.
But it was fun.
I loved Until Dawn. I thought Until Dawn was great, and
imagine
and
Until
I do like
Dawn,
this
but it's me, you, and Keith sitting down to play it, and different characters like will be controlled by different people. So you're passing the controller around and having a laugh and talking about it, and it's a really fun way to play the game. And Until Dawn was an amazing game.
Screw you, Russell. I've overtook you.
I use that as the three of us because
I know.
I don't know why I'm qualifying that. Russell never watches the podcast. Used to be a permanent host.
I'm sending him here. He won't even know.
There was some game delays in the past week. Mafia Definitive Edition was delayed to September 25th. Remothered Broken Porcelain was delayed to October 20th. And New World was delayed to 2021. The last one is Amazon Studios' MMO. And follows very quickly in the dumbest news story, one of the dumbest news stories of the year, of Crucible being released and then not being released. Sorry, it's beta. It's in beta again. Amazon need to sort themselves out and figure out what they're doing with these games that they're bringing out, because they don't seem to be having a good time of it.
And companies that they own that might be one of the biggest streaming services out there. Just a hints, Amazon. Just hints.
Yeah.
Content drop.
We've got some articles you should read and some videos you should watch. We've got one from Digital Foundry over at Eurogamer, which is a big essay about next generation consoles and why we'll still be playing games at 30 frames per second. We've got an interesting one from Kotaku, which is more of like a personal essay. Battle Chef Brigade helps me navigate a complicated relationship with food during COVID-19. We've got a fun one from PC Gamer, which again, the headline sold me on including this somewhere in the podcast, which is it's about a mod for Dark Souls, a Dark Souls game, which is Dark Souls 3 with assault rifles is my new favorite easy mode. Someone replaced a bunch of the ranged weapons in Dark Souls with guns.
That sounds awesome.
It does sound pretty good. Yeah, I actually own Dark Souls 3.
Just plowing down with bullets.
I actually own Dark Souls 3 on PC, so I might actually download this and see what it's like.
Greatest mod ever.
And lastly, we've got a video of someone beating Minecraft using only a piano.
Respect.
Which is a good
games out this week.
I like the fact that you're introing the section, and then I'll just I'm liking this little dynamic that we've got going on.
I should do more
on July 14th, we've got Rocket Arena, which comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Rockets rule everything in Rocket Arena, an explosive 3v3 shooter where you're never out of the fight. Master your hero's unique rockets and abilities to blast your rivals off the map and rule the arena. On July 14th, we've also got Neon Abyss for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Neon Abyss is a frantic roguelite action platformer where you run and gun your way into the abyss, featuring unlimited item synergies and a unique dungeon evolution system. Each run diversifies the experience and every choice alters the rule set. On July 16th, we have Super Hot Mind Control Delete for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and as always, I copied the store description page directly from Steam, and that's why this is the way it is. Mind Control Delete is the first-person shooter where time moves only when you move. No regenerating health bars, no conveniently placed ammo drops, and then in capital letters it says, "You shouldn't be here, you have already won." It's worth noting that if you own Super Hot, if you've bought Super Hot, Not if you got it via Games with Gold, but if you've actually paid for Superhot on any of those platforms, you're going to get Superhot Mind Control Delete for free.
That's good.
Yeah. I got a review code, so I'm like, not getting it for free. Because I already got it for free. But hopefully I get a review code for Mind Control Delete too. If not, I might just buy it because it's on sale at the moment. Also on July 16th, We Should Talk comes to PC and Nintendo Switch. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. We Should Talk is a short-form narrative game that will make you think carefully about the words you choose. Can your relationship survive the night? Also on July 16th, Beyond a Steel Sky comes to PC. From multi-award-winning Revolution comes Beyond a Steel Sky, a groundbreaking 3D adventure thriller set in an AI-driven future. Subvert the world, hack the systems, and solve the conspiracy to uncover the devastating truths. Played a little bit of that at EGX last year. It's pretty cool. It's got a cool sense of humor. Is the thing I mostly remember from it. Also on July 16th, Radical Rabbit Stew comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Radical Rabbit Stew is a hair-raising action arcade game featuring fast-paced whack-a-rabbit gameplay, scintillating puzzles, super-sized boss fights, juicy pixel graphics, and a sizzling soundtrack. Perfect for new players and 16-bit retro fans alike. Then, on July 17th, Ghost of Tushima comes to PS4. As the island burns in the wake of the first wave of the Mongol assault, samurai warrior Jin Sakai stands as one of the last surviving members of his clan. He's resolved to do whatever it takes at any cost to protect his people and reclaim his home. He must set aside the traditions that have shaped him as a warrior to forge a new path, the path of the ghost, and wage an unconventional war for the freedom of Tsushima. And lastly, also on July 17th, we have Paper Mario the Origami King coming to Nintendo Switch. Join Mario and his new companion Olivia on a comedic adventure that will take you to the far corners of a papercraft world in Paper Mario the Origami King on Nintendo Switch. Face off against the Origami King and his army of paper invaders. Team up with some extraordinary companions and master magical powers on your quest to save the world. And those are all the games coming out this week. It's a busy week, it's a big week, it's a good week for small games and big games. I'm playing one of the games, I can't talk about it right now. I want to try Rocket Arena, but I can't figure out if anybody out there is watching this segment. I need to know, is it going to be one of those games you get a 10-hour trial with in EA Access? Because I kind of need it to be, because I don't want to drop 30 quid on it, but I want to try it. And I have EA Access. I know Star Wars Squadrons is going to have a 10-hour trial on EA Access. I want to know if Rocket Arena is.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't find out if it does or not.
Tell us, EA, tell us. We know you're listening.
I pay you $3.99 a month, and I'm going to be honest, I rarely even fucking use the damn thing.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I don't use it. I just bought a new year's worth of it. And I mean,
it's so cheap. It's nice to have, and especially when big games come out, because you get those 10-hour trials, and it means I don't even need to ask for a review code because I can usually just do my impressions video based on the 10 hours that I can do for as part of EA Access. But I did use it to play Mass Effect Andromeda back before lockdown, 16 years ago. And obviously the big ones are Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm really looking forward to.
I'm very intrigued to see what Mario gets, obviously, for Fantasy Critically. But now it's time for the OpenCritic head-to-head.
This is a game me and Moody play every single week, more or less. Sometimes we don't when there's not games coming out. That has happened before. Where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one game coming out over the course of the next week. Whoever gets closest gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score of the game correctly, you get 2 points. Last week I set myself and Moody the impossible challenge of predicting the OpenCritic average of Deadly Premonition 2: A Blessing in Disguise. We would have had just as much of a chance of getting this right if we just put random numbers on the wall and threw a dart at it. Because as I explained to Moody, the original Deadly Premonition 2 has 10s, and it has 2s, and it has every score in between. Deadly Premonition 2 is the same. I don't know if you've actually looked at the review scores that it's getting on OpenCritic and Metacritic, but it goes as high as 9 and it goes as low as 2. It's got everything in between again, because that's just the kind of game Deadly Premonition is. But I guessed it would get a 70. Moody guessed it would get a 69. At the time of recording, Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, has an OpenCritic average of 64 frame rate. It's killing this game. Like, I've seen the GIFs and stuff, and it's like, oof. It's in my Switch right now, but I was playing Curse of the Moon 2 first. Which is a fun game. If you like
Cool.
8-bit Castlevania games.
Who doesn't like that?
People who are wrong, Moody. So that puts the current scores at Amy 11, Moody 10.
I'm coming back, baby.
With 2 draws. I guessed closest on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, Half-Life, Alex, Resident Evil 3, Gears Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, Deep Rock Galactic, Mania, Xenoblade Chronicles, and West of Dead. Moody guessed closest on Zombie Army 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, XCOM Chimera Squad, Command & Conquer Remastered, Iron Man VR, and now Deadly Premonition 2. The 2 draws are, of course, The Last of Us Part 2 and SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm going to have to say SpongeBob SquarePants every week for the rest of the year, aren't I?
Yay. Hey, you don't have to.
I mean,
You can just say 2 draws. One has Last of Us in. We don't talk about the other one.
We'll talk about The Last of Us. This week we're guessing the OpenCritic average of Ghost of Tsushima. It's the biggest game release of the week, the month, probably. I was going to say the year, and then I was like, that's definitely not true. As always, Mooney, you get to guess first. I still don't have post-its, so I'm not writing my numbers down.
I have wrote mine. I've been going back and forward with it because, like, as everyone knows, I research. I actually go in. I've been having a look at what at least the Metacritics for. I know we do it on OpenCritic, but at least like the average for Metacritics for most of the games from Sucker Punch.
Metacritic and OpenCritic for a single platform game are probably pretty close to each other.
Yeah. Their highest game is an 88 overall on Metacritic. This is a brand new IP. I think it's got a lot of hype right now. There's no doubt about it. PlayStation, I think, are very confident in this game, obviously, because the critics have had this game for like 2 weeks now, 3 weeks.
Well, I think it's more just it's a big game that people need time to play.
But the reviews don't come out at least a good 3 days before, didn't it? I think, I always go off for me if they let reviews come out a little bit earlier before it's technically meant to release.
3 days, 1 hour, 27 minutes from now. So when this podcast actually comes out, it'll be like tomorrow.
I feel like that shows how confident they are in it, that they're willing to allow the reviews drop early, at least a good few days before it's meant to release. That's just how it is for me in my head. Amy disagrees, but I digress. I'm going for this. For me, I think is going to be their highest rated game.
I fell into that trap of thinking. I fell into that trap and that way of thinking. Specifically with Doom in 2016, where it was like they're not even giving out review copies. Oh man, this game must suck. And obviously Doom 2016 was one of the most critically acclaimed games of the year. And since then I've kind of just been like whatever about it. Like, oh, you're letting your reviews drop the day before, a week before. It's like, it doesn't matter. And my guess for Ghost of Tsushima, having done absolutely zero research, apart from, being very hyper aware of this game and watching gameplay and all this other stuff, is gonna be an 88. No, it's not.
Don't say, because if it lands in 90,
it's gonna be an 89. Yeah. I looked at it and I was like, I better change that, because if it's an 89, we're in the same problem we were with The Last of Us.
Yeah, I was just about to say, should I move to go to 91 or 89? But
Nah, it's
yeah,
fine.
I'm going bold. I'm going
You
90.
you did the research, Mooney, so you've actually come to that number through thought and preparation. Whereas I sit down at the beginning of each podcast and think, okay, what's the game? This game. All right, cool. What do I know about this game? Okay, I know this. All right, cool. And then I just pluck the number out of my head,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how much
Mm-hmm.
research I do. We've got a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of time for a post-show discussion. I don't want to
You've got
push it.
something you want to talk about.
I don't want
So
to push it too much this week because obviously we've got an unknown we've got a segment of unknown length to drop into the podcast.
that's true.
Um,
So
but no, it was about smaller games. Because you might remember earlier this year, which feels like a lifetime ago at this
nine,
point.
10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, it was in February, I think. I put out that video talking about my gaming resolutions for 2020. Before there was a pandemic and a lockdown. Um, one of the things I talked about was like making time to play games that I wanted to play as opposed to games I felt like I should play for like YouTube and whatnot. And it's like I was playing a game which I'm embargoed to until Tuesday, so I can't talk about it in specifics on the podcast. But I was playing a smaller narrative, quirky little indie game that you can do a run through of it in like 15 minutes. It's designed to be replayed multiple times over, but it takes like 15 minutes to get to the credits. And I was just like, I was really enjoying it, and I was thinking, like, about like other like games that I've played in 2020 that I wouldn't have made time for, purely because I've looked at it and gone, instead of doing this indie game that everybody's talking about or whatever, I've gone and done this. Like Across the Grooves was another one where it's like it's an interactive graphic novel about music, and I played it and I fucking loved it, and I said as much on the on my impressions video, and I've done other games like that, and some of them haven't worked out and some of them have, but I'm just really happy that I've done it because, man, sometimes like big games, right? Even like a lot of AA games, like they just feel so samey sometimes. Like I was playing this game, and there'll be a video up for embargo, so keep an eye out on Tuesday for a review impressions video, where it's like it's got a core mechanic to it, and it does a certain thing in a way that I've never seen this thing done before. Like, and it's just like, and it's this dinky little indie game. Well, like I say, you hit the credits within 15 minutes, you go back, you replay it a bunch of times. And it's just like, AAA game studios, man, they're giving us the same stuff over and over again. And then I'm playing this little indie game, which was a student game that a bunch of people have turned into an actual game. That was part of the Steam Summer Game Fest. That was definitely a trailer for it at one of the shows, the Guerrilla Collective, I think it was. And it's like, and I'm having just as much fun with this game as I did with, like, I don't know, Doom Eternal, one of like the biggest, most expensive games of the year. And it's like, I'm just really happy that I've decided to prioritize playing games that sound interesting. Like even when it doesn't come off, even when it's something like there was a game that came out at the beginning of the year called Bookbound Brigade, which did some interesting stuff, but it just wasn't really for me. But I was still happy I played that over something like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which I knew was going to bore me a bit. Like, even if it was a fantastic game, right? Because I didn't know anything about the game. Even if it was a fantastic game, it's this open world game, and you fly around, and side quests, and collect this, and fight that, and do this. And it's just like, am I on a path? And I didn't think of this question before I started talking about this, but now I'm thinking of it. Am I on this path where, like, in like a year or two, I'm just not gonna play big games anymore? Because I'm just like, oh my god, not this again.
yeah, no, you're not wrong. Like I like using the game you use as an analogy, Dragon Ball Kakarot. That game sucks. It's a terrible game. It is really, really bad for me personally. I thought it was just not a good game personally.
Yeah, that was what kicked it off for me. It was like, I'm looking at Dragon Ball Z, which is a game that didn't interest me. but I felt like I had to play it, right? Because it's the big game of January that everybody's going to be talking about. And instead, I played like 2 or 3 different indie games that sounded more interesting to me, and I probably had a much better time. Like
Yeah.
playing, I think it was a Kentucky Route Zero, Brook Brown Brigade, and there was like a couple of others, like really quirky indie games that just sounded interesting. And I was like, cool, I had a really good time with those. But it extends to things like The Last of Us Part 2, whereas like when you get to Seattle Day 1, it's like very early in the game. There's no story spoilers in what I'm about to talk about, and it's like you explore the environment, and you go to this place and there's an upgrade, and you go to this place and there's another upgrade, and I'm just like, oh man, it's just the same as every other fucking game, big game. It's like I'm exploring the vast open world, and I know it's not that vast, but. And it's like, I go here and I do the optional thing, and I get this shotgun, and I go here and I do the optional thing, and I get this pouch, and it's like, yeah, okay. Fine, I guess.
Fine.
Fine. It's a good job. It's a good job your gameplay is good.
And his story's enthralling and everything.
And I mean, it's still one
No,
of my
I
favorite games of the year, but it is that thing of like, I just got to that part and I was just like, I fucking can't be arsed with this shit.
No, yeah, I completely understand. Like, I'll always stand by to what I always say is that some of the best games, if not overall best games this generation, have been indie games. And that's for me, it's just facts. With some of the ones that stand out like crazy. Like, I had no idea for a game last year, the Elysium game. Eco Elysium, is it?
Disco Elysium, one of my
Elysium,
favorite games of last year.
Yeah, I had no idea about that game whatsoever, and that's partly on me. I won't lie, but I'm not the biggest PC gamer right now because I just don't have the equipment to play PC games.
Yet or not.
Yeah, it's coming to Switch, I believe. But I digress. If I knew about that game and I had the equipment, I would have been playing that game. There's no doubt about that, because I would prefer to play a indie game over a AAA game. Like I playing like right now. I'm playing the new F1 game, which I'm not going to go into spoilers if I'm enjoying it or whatnot. But like the F1 games in general, for me, are just games where I just sit back and I chill. They are games that relax me, and it's going to the experience of like what we like how we are when it comes to Apex. Apex is like we're there maximum 20 minutes for one round. That's it, maximum. And I think that's the gameplay loop that works the most, and why battle royales in general are working so much, because you're about 30 minutes in maximum for a game. For a battle royale game, and that's what I think why it's so addicted to those type of things. Those small little gameplay loops or mechanics that they use, and what indie gamers use work in such a great way. And that's why some of them like Celeste, Dead Cells, Resogun, or anything Housemarque personally, because I just love pretty much everything they've done personally.
Dead Cells is a funny example because I was just playing West of Dead, which heavily borrows like the way the game works from Dead Cells. Like there's so much about West of Dead that is definitely inspired by Dead Cells. Like to the point where I did a review impressions video of West of Dead, and I couldn't not talk about Dead Cells.
Yeah.
And that was like, if God of War hadn't come out in 2018, that would have been my game of the year. Like, even over, like, Spider-Man. Because I kept coming back to that game. Like, because it was amazing. But I'm looking at, like, I've got my running thoughts list of video games up. And obviously, like, my top 3 is really predictable. It's currently, and this is in no particular order, it's currently, actually, I think it's in release order because I think I just put them in the order that I played them. It's Half-Life Alyx, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and The Last of Us Part 2. Those are like the ones that have like separated from the others in terms of like, these are my favorite games of the year. And it's like, yeah, they're all AAA. Like, even going a bit further down, and it's like Neo 2 and Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's just Ori again, but a new story, and I love the story. But it's like, I'm starting to really appreciate like smaller indie games like Kentucky Route Zero, It's a phenomenal, weird-ass fucking game that I couldn't describe to you in 2 sentences if I even tried. And I loved it. Wintermoor Tactics Club. It's this dinky little tactics game with a really big heart and a lot of really cool characters, and I loved it. Iris and the Giant, which is a tactics. It's a card tactics game, and it's kind of about. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it's about depression, and it's like you learn stuff about this character's life and like why they're escaping to this fantasy world and stuff, and it's just like Across the Grooves and the game I'm currently playing that I can't talk about right now. And it's like Through the Darkest of Times, where you play through the rise and fall of Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany, made by people from Germany. It's like this cool strategy game, and I learned a lot about history while I was playing it. And it's just like as awesome as FF7 Remake and Last of Us Part 2 and Half-Life Alyx and Neo and Animal Crossing and stuff are. It's like I've had those experiences before in other games, sometimes in their predecessors, and I love those experiences that I've played this year. And yeah, they are going to be my top games of the year, but sometimes I just crave something new.
Definitely.
Like, not sometimes, I always do. Like, I'll always appreciate a game that's doing something different or giving me an experience I've never had, or just like, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up. It's when we were talking about the smaller games, and I remembered, like, I was playing this game, and I was like, this is weird. This is cool. This is very different. And I really like it.
That's why, like, I have no excitement for the Ubisoft event that we will be talking about at the beginning of this episode.
That we've already talked about, and it was...
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I think we know basically everything that's going to be there, personally. And I have no excitement to what's going to happen. I know what you're saying, that's not about it. But then goes to the Xbox thing as well. We know certain things that are going to be there and everything, but I'm excited to see that what we do not know and what new things they've got to come. Like, yes, I'm excited if there is a new Fable. But both you and me have said we would prefer a new IP than Fable.
But it goes even deeper with your Ubisoft. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go on.
And with your Ubisoft thing, it goes even deeper. It's like, cool, like, we figured there was going to be a Far Cry there, and there's definitely going to be Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And, like, it goes even deeper than going, we know they're going to show it at the Ubisoft Forward. It goes deeper than that, to, like, I'm going to get Far Cry in February, and I already know the experience I'm going to have with it, because I've played previous Far Cry games.
Yeah.
And that bums me out, man. Even with The Last of Us Part 2, I knew the experience I was going to have with it before I had it. Whereas I sat down to play this game, I think I played it for like 2 hours. It's like 15 minutes long. And I sat down with it and I didn't know what I was in for. And I think that's the root of it. It's like I didn't know what I was in for when I played this game. When I sat down to play Across the Grooves, I knew what I was in for because I played the demo at EGX last year, but was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. But it was the same case of like when I sat down to play that demo, I didn't know what I was in for. And that's cool. I want to be surprised. And AAA games don't surprise me anymore. Or very rarely. Very rarely they surprise me, I should say.
Yeah, that's a true fact. I think the rarity of when they surprise us, it's so small these days. It's a shame. It is a shame. Even though some of them, like I say, best game of the year for me is a AAA game, Last of Us Part 2.
Well, like my favorite game of the generation, God of War. Like, it's as AAA as AAA comes, and it's just the PlayStation exclusive. We just talked about it earlier in the show, where it's like PlayStation exclusive games are kind of all the same game. But it's still my favorite game of the generation, and I still like talk about it all the time. But yeah, it is kind of just like, I sat down with that game, and I was like, I kind of already know what I'm going to get from this game. We're going to have to wrap it up there because we're pushing.
Definitely, yeah. I'll move on to us wrapping up.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, so let us know what your thoughts of the Ubisoft Forward conference event thingamajiggy that we have talked about. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let us all know. Is Microsoft the perfect company to buy Warner Bros. Interactive? Let us know on that. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Look, do you think there's another company that would be worthy enough to be good enough to buy this company? And please don't say Disney. They won't be buying anyone right now. Do you agree with everything from the Game Pass, the game studios, of what Microsoft are doing with their accessibilities, basically for the studios, the free reign and everything, and the whole thing? To let us know and everything. And do you think that I will be tying from next week in the OpenCritic guessing game between me and Amy? It's 11:10. I was back. I was down and out, but I've brought it back like I knew I would, ladies and gentlemen. I was a little worried, I won't lie, but I am the glorious one, Hot Turner himself, Mr. Moody, and this is the fabulous, glorious Amy Kate Alexander. Thank you. We love you.